In this scene, you will meet Avonlea's favorite neighbor, Rachel Lynde. Rachel and Marilla have been friends longer than anyone can remember. And today, Mrs. Lynde gives her opinion on the situation taking place at Green Gables.
Marilla?
Rachel, come in.
Well, Marilla, I'll tell you just plain, I think you're making a mighty foolish mistake. A risky mistake, that's what.
Lovely evening, Rachel. Glad you could drop by.
Bringing a strange child into your house?
I will admit I've had some qualms about it myself.
Couldn't you have just sent her back?
Well, Rachel, I suppose we could, but Matthew took a fancy to her. She's a real bright little thing. It's only been a week and the house is a different place already.
Well, it's a great responsibility you've taken on yourself, Marilla. And with no experience with children, but I don't mean to discourage you, I'm sure.
I'm not feeling very discouraged. Thank you, Rachel. Now, I don't suppose you really came over just to see me. Anne?
Yes, Marilla? Well, they didn't pick you for your looks. She's terribly skinny, Marilla. Come here, child. Let me have a look at you. Awful heart. Have you ever seen such freckles? And hair as red as carrots? Come here, child, I said.
I hate you! I hate you! How dare you call me skinny and ugly? How dare you say I'm freckled and redheaded? You are a rude, impolite, unfeeling woman!
Anne!
How would you like to have such things said about you? How would you like to be told that you are rude and a gossip and don't have a spark of imagination in you?
Anne, go up to your room and stay there until I come up.
Oh, have you ever seen such a temper? I don't envy your job bringing that up, Marilla.
You shouldn't have twitted about her looks, Rachel.
Marilla Cuthbert, you don't mean
No,
to say...
I'm not trying to excuse her. She's been very naughty and she'll have a good talking to, but we must make allowances. She's never been taught what is right. And you were too hard on her, Rachel.
Well, I guess I'll have to be extra careful what I say around here from now on, since the fine feeling of orphans has to be considered before anything else. If you'll take my advice, which I'm sure you won't, you'll give her that talking to, with a fair-sized birch switch.
Well, you made a fine exhibition of yourself. Now, I don't mean to say that Mrs. Lynde was exactly right. She's much too outspoken, but that's no excuse. She was an older person and my guest. You were rude and saucy, and you must go to Mrs. Lynde and ask her to forgive you.
Oh, I can never do that. You can punish me in any way you like, Marilla. Lock me up in a dark, damp dungeon, inhabited by snakes and toads, and feed me on only bread and water. But I cannot ask Mrs. Lynde to forgive me.
Well, we're not in the habit of shutting people up into damp, dark dungeons. Apologize to Mrs. Lynde. You must and shall, and you'll stay here until you're ready to do it.
She'll have to stay here forever then.
You'll have the night to think over your conduct and come to a better frame of mind.
How are you making it?
Pretty well. I imagine a good deal.
Marilla's a dreadfully determined woman. Dreadfully determined. Don't you think you ought to just, do it and get it over with?
Wait, you mean apologize to Mrs. Lynde?
Just smooth things over, so to speak.
Guess I could do it for you. You really wanted me to.
It's been awful lonesome downstairs without you, Anne. Just smooth things over.
Well, it would be true to say I'm sorry now. All right, I'll tell Mrs. Lynn I've repented.
That's my girl. But don't tell Marilla I had anything to do with it.
Wild horses would drag the secret from me. Matthew, how would wild horses drag a secret from a person anyhow?
Well, I just don't know.
Marilla,
Yes?
sorry I was wicked and said rude things, and I'm willing to go tell Mrs. Lynn so.
Very well. Come along then, we'll head over right now.
Could we wait for 5 minutes, please?
Whatever for?
I'm imagining out what it must say to Mrs. Lynn.
Rachel,
Yes.
Anne has something she'd like to tell you.
Well, Mrs. Lynde, I'm so extremely sorry. I behaved terribly to you. Well, and I've disgraced the dear friends Matthew and Marilla who have let me stay at Green Gables, even though I'm not a boy. It was very wicked of me to fly into a temper. Because you told me the truth. My hair is red, freckled and skinny. Ugly. Well, what I said to you was true too. I just shouldn't have said it. Oh, Mrs. Lynde, please forgive me. You refuse. Lifelong sorrow and a poor little orphan girl.
There, child, get up. Of course I forgive you. I guess I was a little too hard on you. I mean, it can't be denied, your hair is awful red, though. I once knew a red-headed girl whose hair darkened to a really handsome auburn when she got older. I wouldn't be a mite surprised if yours did the same.
Mrs. Lynde, you have given me a hope.
Anne, run along and wait for me in the lane. Rachel.
Well, Marilla, she's a real odd little thing, that's for sure, but I think she might turn out all right now that she's come to live with civilized folk. On the whole, I kind of like her.
Well, I apologized pretty well, didn't I?
I hope you won't have any occasion to make any more such apologies.
Gives you a lovely, comfortable feeling to apologize and be forgiven. Aren't the stars bright tonight? If you could live in a star, which one would you choose? I think I'd pick that lovely, clear, big one way over there above that hill.
And do hold your tongue. Let's go home.
It's lovely to be going home and know it's home. Oh, I'm not talking anymore just now. There's so much scope for the imagination in the wind.
Well, thank goodness for that, anyway.